All right, speaking of COVID, a new vaccine against it could soon be available to you, but what if you don't want to get it? Could your workplace force you to receive it? Eric Palacios has the answers.
Eric, I really think this next chapter of COVID is going to be fascinating and possibly as contentious as it has been up to this point, because now we're talking about vaccines and what is required when it comes to people working for someone else. Can an employer require an employee to get a vaccine?
That's a great question, and the answer is it depends. For most private employers, you can ask your employees to provide a proof of a vaccine if they work in the health industry or an industry that deals a lot with customers or clients, like a restaurant industry. So they can ask employees to have a vaccine.
Okay, then what happens if an employee refuses to do so?
Also, something that is bound to come up. There are a few reasons why you can legally resist of getting a vaccine. One of those is if you have a condition or an illness which a vaccine will make worse or put you in danger of getting sick. Under the American with Disabilities Act, you can exempt out of this. Also, for some, getting a vaccine with certain elements in the vaccine, blood derivatives or different substances, might violate their religious beliefs. So if the vaccine violates your religious beliefs, then you can also reject it.
But it could get complicated so very fast. Then does an employer have the right to fire an employee who refuses to get the vaccine?
Well, what you would hope is that they find another reasonable alternative, maybe switch the employee's position to something that he doesn't have direct contact with the customers, or somehow accommodate the employee's request to not be vaccinated. But again, depending on the industry, it can be a reason for termination.
Do you anticipate there will be a lot of legal matters surrounding the vaccines?
I do, because the law is not real clear on this when it's not a final approved medical treatment. Normally that takes about 3 to 5 years for any type of new medicine or vaccine to be fully approved. What we have now is just vaccines rolling out under an emergency provision because they need to be out before there's been long-term investigation and studies on all of the effects. Because of this, the vaccine doesn't have the same protections and rights as a medicine or a vaccine that's been fully vetted and fully approved. So for this reason, the law is not too clear, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of contention and a lot of lawsuits going back and forth by employees that have been terminated for not receiving the vaccine, or maybe even employees that have been forced to take the vaccine and have somehow been affected.
Yeah, it is the next chapter. Eric, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it always.
Thanks for having me.
Great conversation there. For more information, give Eric Palacios and Associates a call at 702-444-7777. You can also visit their website at ericpalacioslaw.com. Las Vegas Now will be right back.